Corner. This is part of your human right, without fear of being locked up for 20 years for saying what you think. And a very minimum of a culture and society is Speaker's Corner. If you don't have that, if you don't have a place where you can come freely without fear of being arrested, then you don't have a fucking society. What you have is a dictatorship. No ifs, no buts. It's a dictatorship, and you're allowed to think as long as you don't tell anybody what you're thinking. That's those countries and how those countries act. Technically, that's the country we live in here as well, but we do have much more freedoms. And it's been thanks to great people that come here to speak that's helped those freedoms. But we don't live in a world that's much different from that. The difference here in the West is that you're allowed to say something as long as we spy on you, and as long as we dictate and own the whole space that you live in, which is the world. So that's what CIA does and MI5. So you're allowed to have a thought, it's just that they control it and dictate how that thought will manifest itself in reality. And the way CIA work and MI5 is that people left wing, they infiltrate those groups and radicalize those groups. So CONTELPRO is a CIA project where CIA, they use these tactics of infiltration of anything that they don't like, which is anything human-based, anything that requires is the end goal is human rights. They will annihilate that as soon as possible. And if you're going to protest, they infiltrate those groups and make sure those groups, those protests end up as violent and as dangerous as possible. So yes, we do have freedom of speech here, we do have Speaker's Corner, but it comes with massive caveats to that. Speaker's Corner is great to be able to have that ability to speak your mind. Of course, internet is now meant we've all kind of got a Speaker's Corner. This is what the internet is. And again, the elite, the far right, have radicalized as many of those groups as humanly possible. So Speaker's Corner, if you don't have one, that's because you live in a horrific dictatorship. We have one, but it is minimal. I mean, it's constantly the things that happen here are pretty horrific, where you're allowed, but violence is not freedom of speech. Promoting violence is not freedom of speech. And coming up to somebody and drilling holes in their Bible or Quran, that is not freedom of speech. What that is just fucking hatred.
Speaking about Hatun.
I'm speaking about anyone fucking stupid enough to drill a hole
Hatun done that, no?
into a religious text, whether it be Quran or the Bible. Anyone as thick as that should be banned, not permanently, but banned for a considerable period of time. Because Speaker's Corner isn't about individuals coming here to indulge and glorify hatred and radicalizing people of the opposite religion so that they will attack you. That's exactly what that was. She got her fucking dreams, that particular lady, when she was attacked by another religion.
Yeah, do you sort of condemn that or support that?
I think deliberately stoking violence should be banned from this park.
I mean, she was kind of asking for it.
She wanted that more than anything else. In her heart, she wanted that. Speaker's Corner should not be about those people. It should be about people coming here to speak their mind, and their mind saying, yeah, I disagree with the Bible, I disagree with Muslims, but give a fucking reason, think, articulate those thoughts. What you shouldn't do is just come here to glorify hate and to stoke violence in others. That's the end. That destroys Speaker's Corner, and that will always destroy Speaker's Corner, because we can't have the police keep coming here for nutters who just want to destroy Speaker's Corner for everyone, because that's exactly what that does. Pseudo-atheist Steve, Tommy Robinson, that they come here to destroy Speaker's Corner, not for freedom of speech.
Do you think the police are pretty biased on some things?
Well, it's a bit common. I think the police are not educated in philosophy, or do they understand the political groups that come here just to infiltrate the minds of the police. The far right definitely come here and they pretend to be under free speech, and under that, because we've got police that come here for years making sure this stays here.
Steve Barnes.
Steve Barnes is a human being of great wonder and a personal hero of mine, and always will be, though I disagree with him on certain subjects, of course. This subject, actually, is the only subject I do disagree with him on.
I heard he's leaving. I heard he's gonna leave soon.
Who? Oh, yes.
I think it's just a rumor, but I'm not sure.
It's not a rumour, it's a reality.
Yeah, he might
And
leave.
unfortunately, there's very few Steve Barnes in this world. He's one very special, unique, brilliant individual who I wish all police were modelled off him, because in that world, we'd have a world that's much safer, warmer and happier. Because his particular style of policing, and I've witnessed it many times, is absolutely a credit to not only this community here at Speaker's Corner, but to humanity. But I think the police are not trained in how, like pseudo-atheist Steve and certain Christians here, who are highly politically motivated and bring immense political weight regarding using free speech as their umbrella to conduct their hate, and that's exactly what they do, and that destroys Speaker's Corner, because as we all know, there's only a limited amount of resources and funding, and certain people don't care about everyone else who wants to have a Speaker's Corner. They don't give a shit about that. All they care about is their ego and hate, and those are a very dangerous fuel to have in a human being. And that Speaker's Corner shouldn't be allowed for those sort of people. If you're going to come here, bring debate. I mean, I saw Bob the Destroyer once. He was talking, was having a really interesting debate with a Muslim. Then he just, because he was losing the battle, because he got angry, because he couldn't handle it anymore, he just swore at this Muslim guy.
I think you're talking about when he told Modine that
then he punched
the Prophet was pathetic or something.
He just, because he lost the argument, because he's so lazy of thought and mind, that you just started swearing at the guy, and the guy hit him.
And guess what? Modine got escorted out of the park, but nothing happens to Bob.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
so the police are biased.
I don't want to get into whether the police are biased or not, but I do think that police are not trained in philosophy, and they're not trained in the... I mean, it's illegal in this country, by the way, to hate upon someone else's religion. It's actually a legal crime. But we're getting into a very complex... I wish I had someone here to debate with on that subject, so not me just being all my voice. Unfortunately, we don't have opportunity to have... Great to have Steve Barnes here to debate on that subject. And, you know, he's done an amazing, brilliant job, and yeah, he's my hero, absolutely. And I've said that to him, and I'll always, from my heart, mean that. And the police in this country are doing an amazing job under horrific situations that they are now faced with, COVID, and as I said last time, the Tory government are defunding the police, defunding them. As the far right keep thinking that defunding is some sort of left-wing thing, which is utterly insane. Because far right in this country are defunding the police, meaning that the police now, you're right, meaning that this endangers not only the police officers, because it puts them under so much stress. That means they can't do the wonderful job that they would want to do, because a stressful human being isn't the human being that we aspire to. We aspire to a society where we have a minimal police and a society that's fair, because you don't need a load of police or guns in a society that cares for itself, where austerity isn't deemed the greatest glory that ever came out of the cunts from Oxbridge, because that's where that thought comes out, with rich little kids thinking austerity is the way forward. That clearly puts the whole country at threat, and that threats the police officers as well. I'm sure you did you hear that?
I only got the last bit, but why do you...
Back in a second.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him a question about this Brexit, since he's British.
Yeah.
He has a British opinion. Yeah. So what is the... I didn't write the name of your channel.
Palestinian 717.
Southern 7?
Palestinian.
Yeah.
And then 717.
What is 717?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a number, isn't it?
It's a number.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, you wanted to ask you something.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion on Brexit?
Oh wow! So Brexit, I'm with the way that the left view Brexit, which is getting out of Europe because there isn't enough rules. Where Europe crushes a lot of the rules and a lot of independence from countries. That's what Europe does, because it defers to a capitalist concept of how countries should be run. Very against that. But it is their idea of capitalism with some rules. But that's mad. That is, because capitalism is a country within itself that spans over the whole world and is richer and more powerful than any individual country's capitalism. And it will just go around every single rule as it deems fit. Where the far right, like Boris Johnson, Theresa May, and whoa, dude, chill out! Bad motherfucker on the table tennis. Sorry. Where the Boris Johnson, the far right, they want to have less rules, meaning that the environment, human beings' lives are going to be destroyed at free will. It will be a massacre on this country and any country that lets capitalism flood free across its chosen victim, which would be the UK. Wow!
Yeah, I've been against
You can do it! You won! So that's how Brexit, thank you very much for that question, it is absolutely Tories' hand, utter cruelty, and it is utter proof of how much capitalism hates human beings, and it particularly hates human beings that think that the world can be united. That's its ultimate threat, because the human beings that think the world can be united and grow is the single greatest threat to the capitalist system. Because once you have people who stop fighting each other and actually start fighting their hate in this world, which is capitalism, and their greed, therefore you have a world united, and in that world we have no poverty. Wars end. National health service for all grows and blooms. Science, culture, development, and that's the development of a society is another threat to capitalism. Capitalism must make sure societies never develop apart from the rich in that society. They're the only people who are allowed to develop. And why? Because the rich, the super elite I'm talking about, they own the rich. They own their drugs and they own their addictions, and therefore they control that society from that perspective. But you can't control a democracy. So I propose having a democracy that is one person, one vote, and is of equal power, each single one.
And especially
which we don't have now.
Community of associated producers. Producers can be very efficient if they work through associations, not divided one against each other. That will never work. But the reason why I was against Brexit since the very beginning is because a united Europe can face up to United States. I give you the example of Iranian nuclear deal. When the Iranians decided to have their own nuclear program, and the United States didn't want because they want to own the whole Gulf region, then the interest of Europe became clear-cut opposite to the interest of the United States, because Europe functions as an entity that has got its own deals as per purchasing energy, such as the oil of the Middle East and of Iran. And Europe buys Iranian oil. And because Europe buys Iranian oil, they want to keep good relationships with Iran, while United States wants to destroy Iran as the major obstacle in the Gulf region. So the Iranian deal was safeguarded, Iran was safeguarded against the United States because being main purchaser of oil, they didn't want the American to interfere with the business of the Europeans. What's happened is this, that when you have a major military power like US interfering, you need a united Europe. Because when it was the case that Europe counteracted the United States about interfering with Iran, if you had only France and Germany, which are the two military powers of Europe and the most powerful countries in Europe, but if there were no European Union, only Germany and France, then they would have been completely powerless. But because Europe was united as EU, especially with also Northern European Scandinavians that are very they are powerful in the sense ideologically powerful, Europe could tell off United States and tell off hands off Iran. But at this united Europe with only France and Germany would have never have the power to oppose United States. That's why it's very important to have a united EU. EU is very important.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have any questions?
No. I think Duff's don't want to come in the video, no?
Yeah.
No, he's not coming back, no?
Yeah, it's got a good video, it is.
Yeah.
So what I want to say that since I am a sustainer of European Union...
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever been in a political job or something, like in the parliament or something?
No, I never went to any political party. The reason is because to be part of a party is expensive. I'm not rich. And just, for example, to have meetings, you have every time to get about £10 to just attend the meeting. And the meeting is not as interactive like a speaker's corner. It's just people talking, and here, when you have interaction like in speaker's corner, it's far more interesting and it's 100% free of charge. So I think I didn't join a party for economic reason. And I find the speaker's corner more interesting. But what is very bad of speaker's corner, there are no women. It's very bad. So when a woman came to talk against the feminist, and she was talking absolute nonsense, because she doesn't really have a clue of what feminism is, just bashing feminism, bashing the struggle of women to remove domestic slavery and to remove being used as, I would say, reproductive machines, producing children like a machine, being used like cattle to reproduce human beings, and totally disempowered because they are stuck to domestic slavery of cooking, cleaning, taking care of children, of the elderly, of the husband, and being completely unpaid and having to work until the last breath. This is disgusting. And when this woman came here to bash women and to bash the struggles of women that were very, all the struggles of women are the struggles of the working class. Yeah. So if you bash women, you bash the working class. So if we had a women presence against this very backward person, we would have a number of women that would have said exactly the position of society and the partnership, mighty partnership of the working class with feminism, because women, I think they are at least 53% of the world population, at least.
And they don't get
And
the
they
wage.
don't have a voice.
They don't have a voice, and nor do they get the wage of a man does.
Yeah, they have no power. They are powerless, especially in poor countries, especially in the Middle East. I mean, you are Palestinian, you must have seen the horrors, what's happened in Palestinian family as well. And Palestinians are the most politically advanced in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But,
And just step in just a moment. The reason why this repression of women exists is to divide the working class and to get them to fight against themselves. So that men are taught to be a proper man, you've got to be drinker and aggressive and the breadwinner, and other rhetoric which defines classical idea what a man is. In actual fact, that is purely geared up and put into society so that it divides families, men and women, because women can be breadwinners, of course.
yeah, of course.
And women should have equal pay, and this shouldn't be something we should be fighting, still fighting in the 21st century. And the reason why we're still fighting for it is because it's just there to divide the working class, to separate human beings.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it exists.
Yeah, divide means weaken. Weaken means conquer and enslave. The purpose is the enslavement of the working class. Once you oppress women, you repress the whole of the working class worldwide.
Creates division, hardship, and it creates resentment just among the working class.
Before you go away and you shut the video, I just want to show you what I wrote about conspiracy theory, that I had a mismatch with Guy.
G-Truth, you mean?
Did you see my mismatch?
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
Me and Guy. Yeah.
His name's G-Truth.
What?
G-Truth you're talking about.
G-Truth,
Yeah.
Yeah, but they call him Guy. Guy is the way he's known. So I wrote my observations. Well, you can definitely say my observations are wrong. We are here to grow intellectually, not to bash each other. Whatever you have to criticize is actually most of the time positive criticism for the purpose of growing together and knowing a certain different aspect of reality. So I believe that people that are focused and stress the importance of this conspiracy theory are in fact conformists. What is a conformist? It's an individual that wants to fit in. He wants to be accepted on the basis that he has a personal point of view, and he presents his point of view as very brave and very important because he differs from the general point of view of the population. That is the conformism of a theorist conspirator.
Conforming.
He wants to conform, yes.
The terrorist or the average person?
No. Anybody that is hooked to conspiracy theory, to me, is a conformist.
Wow, that's an interesting thought.
Well, but you know why? Because he wants to fit in. He wants to fit in, and he doesn't want to be popular on the basis of common sense. He wants to be popular on the basis of being very opinionated against the masses. In the case of the conspiracy theory that COVID or SARS-2 doesn't exist, it can get the upper hand because people are so fed up of isolation, of not having this life of caring, hugging, kissing. They are so fed up of being restricted, long queue to buy groceries and so much discomfort that accept the conspiracy theory that SARS-2 doesn't exist. It accepts it on the basis of self-interest, the self-interest of stopping being restrained by the virus and the fear of infection. People want to be free, to move around, to talk to other people, to kiss, hug, show tenderness, and SARS-2 has eliminated all of that. So, conspiracy theory is not reality. For example, I give you the explanation why conspiracy theory is not reality. For example, in Middle East, they do not believe that 9/11, you know, the attack by so-called Al-Qaeda, was not done by Al-Qaeda. In Middle East, everybody believes that it was a job done by Bush and was an inside job.
Do you think that was true?
In Middle East. No. Apart my opinion, I'm just explaining what is a conspiracy theory. In Middle East, they don't believe Al-Qaeda knocked down the World Center. So, do not believe this is part of a choice that I would consider a conspiracy theory because we cannot prove or disprove that it was done by Al-Qaeda. Anything that you cannot prove or disprove, don't hang on a conspiracy theory. Just be honest, like God. Can you prove that God exists? No. There is no evidence that God exists. So be honest. Just say, we do not know if God exists or not. We do not know. So, conspiracy theory is a very weird thing because where does a conspiracy theory end? You keep on telling this is not true, that is not true, that is not true. It never ends. So, there were, for example, just a few years ago, this conspiracy theory is strictly a very right-wing mentality because a few years ago when there were more shades of gray and people would value cognitive knowledge, cognition, they would be more nuanced and say, well, it could be, but could also not be. So they were more relaxed about assumption and about putting out unverifiable theories. So now, on the contrary, we suffer of cognitive infiltration. Cognitive conspiracy theory put forward something that the government does not like. So basically, all this SARS-2 that doesn't exist was to discredit the government, disempower the government, because the government put all the restrictions. Wear the mask, don't go near people, don't hug people, don't travel, stay in the house. And when you say SARS-2 does not exist, you discredit the power of the government to enforce the restrictions, or the police that are carrying out all the I would say sometimes bully bossing of people, don't go near other people. And this is very insane, it's very sick, it should not be the case. And therefore, I'm very against all this conspiracy theory because they do not help humanity to come together and find a common ground. And what is the common ground of humanity? It is to eliminate the fundamental injustice. And the fundamental injustice is the economic exploitation. Yeah? And if you have any question, I try to answer your questions. Yeah, obviously, you being more around people than me, you probably have different points of view, and but it's good to have different points of view. I'm not promoting that people should be like-minded. People can never be like-minded. They might be like-minded on strike because they all fight for a higher wages and better living conditions. They might be like-minded when it comes to defend the consumer rights to buy healthy food that doesn't make them sick. But
Sorry, 1 second.
like-minded, that is an interesting
Who's this guy?
Yeah, why don't you ask him questions?
No, I'm not going. He looks dodgy.
You don't know him.
No, he looks
I've
dodgy
never
as well.
seen him.
No. Yeah, so thank you, Alisa, for the video. Yeah, anything else?
Yeah, what do you think about...
I can't give my opinions.
Oh,
because
no,
I'm-
sorry.
yeah.
Well, in that case, I will definitely go to your under 717.
Palestinian 717.
I'm not saying the first part because I understand. I don't say the first part. I'm just saying I go to under 717.
Yeah.
And
No, it's fine, you can say the name,
I
but
will
I mean-
try to get you subscribers.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Lisa.
And,
No, it's fine. You can say the name Palestinian, but I mean, I don't give my views on video because I just film it.
Yeah,
Try to be
you made
unbiased
a
as
choice.
possible,
Yeah.
even though it's a
But
bit hard.
I really love the Palestinians.
Yeah, thank you.
They are most intelligent people at the moment because
In the Middle East,
obviously they have to fight back. And
Yeah.
because they fight back, they know how to structure a certain political united front. They make a united front because compelled by the Zionists, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I have never traveled there because I really
Yeah, it's hard.
don't
You have to be a
dare
journalist to
go
get in.
to a country and in a situation whereby people are so badly treated. That really makes my blood boil.
Yeah, that's
when I
perfect
think about
explanation.
Palestine, they can't sell their fruits, their vegetables, locked, incarcerated. Come. No, come, we are making a video.
Oh, you don't want to be on camera?
You don't want to be on
Fine,
camera?
no. I
Why?
can go.
Why not? You have a lot to say.
Bites me on the neck in the back one day.
Yeah, it's fine. He doesn't want to be on camera.
You don't even have a channel, nothing?
No, I don't have a channel.
Why not?
Don't need one.
Do you have an account at all?
Like what? On what?
Account.
On what network?
Account means you put...
Yeah, I know what the account
Yeah,
is. I just
yeah.
what network are you referring to? You know, there's Twitter, there's YouTube.
Well,
there's
let's say YouTube is more numerous, more popular, no? I would say. Yeah? So you have it.
Well, I have an account, but I don't use it to upload videos.
Not even commentaries.
Couple, very few though.
So, what is the name of your account?
Oh, he
Oh,
doesn't
you
want,
don't
it's fine. He doesn't want to be on camera.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's not a problem. It's fine.
No, but I find this guy very interesting. He's very opposite from my way of thinking, but he's quite informed. He went to college, he went to certain environments.
Yeah.
So he knows an environment that is not commonly known, especially not in Spicascona. And I've never had any altercation with him because, to me, everybody must have a right to express their opinion.
That's very uncommon amongst communists.
Well, I am.
Okay, I'll go on.
I am a communist.
Yeah, he
but,
wants to be on camera, no
I'm
problem.
a communist, but I am a tolerant type, like Italians. Italians are communists, but very tolerant. And I cannot betray my roots. I was born in a certain type of mentality, and it's not easy to disconnect. Since birth, you have always that kind of influence of being tolerant and of being
Which side of the Italy, south or north?
north.
Okay, it's just I've known many Northern Italians, and they tell me most of the older generation are still very pro-Mussolini to this day, which is quite hilarious, actually.
Yeah, it's hilarious. No, but not many. It used to be in the 70s when the Italians overtook England in GDP and was well off. Then people thought, oh yeah, we need Mussolini. Mussolini is going to make our country militarily powerful like it used to be. But that has waned
Yeah,
lately.
that's kind of become a bit of a joke now. Yeah, especially the military demands.
Yeah, it is becoming hilarious. But
It's funny though, because
I like him because he's a provocateur actually.
Oh, what?
You know, he likes to provoke
Oh,
people,
provocateur,
especially
yeah.
those with a different opinion
Yeah.
from his opinion. And I find that I like him because he's hilarious. The way people respond to him, some take him very seriously and they become quite disgusted of his provocation. And to me, the counter reaction to his provocation is funny.
Golden rule. Never feed the trolls. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not easy not to fit trolls. With trolls get a lot of credentials.
Yeah, they
They're
do.
funny.
Trump
They're funny.
is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Massive troll, got massive press coverage, worth billions of dollars apparently in this first term.
Because
Successfully got elected president, and sadly enough, he's, in my opinion, this is probably going to bite me, but unfortunately, in my opinion, he was probably the best president in my lifetime, which is just sad if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Really sad.
Okay.
You know, especially if you're looking at it in terms of, you know, the body pile in the Middle East.
But good in what sense? Because there are different ways of being good.
Good in the sense that he reversed many policies with regard to America's hawkish stance when it comes to the Middle East. So as a result, he's got a much lower casualty rate in the Middle East compared to, say, the likes of Bill Clinton,
Yeah,
who imposed
that's true.
sanctions
That's
that
very
killed
true.
hundreds of thousands of children.
That is 100% my thinking.
Bush, Iraq War, also more hundreds of thousands. Obama killed even more of his drone strikes. So it is pretty tragic that a demagogue is the least worst option out of, you know, all the presidents in my lifetime.
Yeah, because remember, there is massacre going on in Yemen, but it was started by Obama, a Democrat. It's not Trump who started it. Trump carried on, but it was started by Obama. Also, the nuclear deal with Iran was started by Obama, not by Trump. So Obama, in my point of view, made a number of very massive right-wing policies that really discredited the U.S. far worse than Trump did.
He was very charismatic. That's why he could get away with it.
Well, he knew how to speak.
Yeah, he knew how to speak, definitely. Yeah. I mean, seriously, the guy killed more people and is remembered more fondly than Bush.
Well, it is fondly because of, you know, obviously the African Americans are all for Osama bin Laden.
I'm surprised there. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to live in a society where we judge people fundamentally on their actions as opposed to their ethnicity, because you want to judge somebody on something they can choose in their life, as opposed to something that is you cannot fundamentally change.
Yeah, but African American are an ethnic minority. They are only 15% of the American population is a minority. And obviously when you are a minority, you tend automatically to cling to your own ethnicity. It comes almost natural. It is solidarity against the 85% majority.
I mean, it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, you could describe Italy as an ethnic kaleidoscope, yet you don't see much ethnic tensions there apart from north and south, but that's more of a cultural tension as opposed to an ethnic tension.
Yeah, it's a cultural tension of tradition, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the debate.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. So I